What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Wodapalooza Day 3 wrap-up show. My name is Scott Switzer. I'm the Clydesdale. I've got Amy Radowski with me and Jamie Latimer. We're going to look at today's action and a couple news items, and then we'll let you get on with your day and on to the final event of the elite teams later tonight. So with that, a couple quick injury updates. Alex Carone, who withdrew from the individual competition, was replaced on his team by Logan Ewing, friend of the show. So he's out there competing. I think that's the Mayhem Misfits team.
Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
Luke Parker was replaced by Scott Panchek, which was super exciting. I want to see Scott back out there. And then one of their teammates, Nick Matthew, rolled his ankle in the 5K this morning, and they had to withdraw.
Oh, no.
So Scott got to run a 5K, which I'm sure was his favorite thing to do.
Right.
With all of his knee surgeries.
Right.
And then that was it for him. Mathilde Garnes gave it a go. And she is competing with the Scandinavians.
I love that team name.
Mm-hmm.
I do too. That was so creative. So that is it for the news items, I think. And Barbell Spin has been putting out stuff, which was I want to give credit to them. He's been my source pretty much the whole weekend.
What's up with Justin's ankle?
Apparently he rolled it on the 5K as well.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
It sounds like there were several rolled ankles out on that course. I mean, it sucks that we didn't get to see any of that.
So that's my first note. They did not broadcast the bike. They called it a bike race, which had no bike involved. It was just a straight 5K off-site through what we are being told, a very treacherous course. Narrow, no place to pass. Is that good or bad for the sport, and why?
That they didn't broadcast it, or that
they didn't broadcast it?
It's terrible. I mean, it's same as like, not that some of those broadcasts is the greatest broadcast, like what you get during the day of regular open masters, everything is kind of comparable to the masters coverage at the games. Like, not great, and people complain all day. But if you want people to tune in and be interested in this stuff, we need at least a highlight reel. Like, they could have come back half hour before this event and just highlight reeled that and given us an update, which I think they said they still don't even have the men's leaderboard calculator. They're still reviewing stuff. So that's like, it's just hard to follow along and stay interested in this team race.
Yeah, I think a update, or like you were saying, like just a highlight would be good. But I think that broadcasting a 5K at the same time, for the spectators not on site, can be boring.
It can be. I think they have to make an effort. Some of my most vivid memories of CrossFit Games are when they did the guerrilla kind of stuff at the ranch. And maybe it wasn't like a full broadcast, but it was a highlight. And they knew where the fun stuff to video would be, like coming down over that trench and like Josh Bridges sliding down on his butt. Like, those are vivid memories for me. And with the way this course is described, it was very similar to that. And it would have been really cool to see just some pieces of it. And now, like, drones are so much more popular than even they were.
Agreed.
Yeah. When that happened. And you could have got some drone shots of at least where people were. I think my overall complaint is I don't think event directors take into account that we need to make this a spectator sport. You need to sell tickets. You need to get people on streams where you can get sponsors so you can grow the sport. And when you don't broadcast those things, because they're different, it's not the same old, same old. Everybody in the world knows what a 5K is. Not everybody knows what a thruster and a clean and jerk are. And it would be more relatable to people that aren't in this space.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and I mean, I remember just some of the highlights from previous games. Like I remember watching Rich Froning, and he was walking, during a run event, and it was like, whoa, how's that happening? So I think it does show, the broad areas of fitness when we can include all the events. But so I think the best option would be some kind of highlight.
Yeah. Anything, like anything. We always say anything, and then they give us like the static cam in one spot that sucks really bad.
Yeah.
When I say anything, let some young person who wants to like make a name for themselves go film it and then make a quick highlight reel or stream it live and say, hey, for this event, we're not on Loud and Live, we're over here. And we're letting this guy film it. So, okay. So with that, I did pull up the leaderboard. We do have the women results. It looks like for their 5K, and it was NGH. Thank goodness. A huge shout out to Holly, who's doing the leaderboards for us over the weekend. She put the names of the athletes on each team
That's so
underneath
helpful.
the leaderboard, which makes it so much easier to know who we're talking about. She is killing it. I appreciate her so much.
Yeah, because when I go on to like just Heat 1, I have to click every team just so I can be like, who's on this team?
Yep.
And like right now, the competition corner isn't showing me the names for some reason. So NGH, I don't even know. Then Lifter
That's
Girl,
that.
then Lycan Gang, RX Performance, and Team Barine, which all did well in the swim too.
Right.
Which we're going to get into in a second. So it's not the names that you typically would think of
Right.
for this event, and it's going to be interesting because the next 4 events that haven't been done are more straight CrossFit.
Yeah, this is definitely an aerobic capacity. Both the run and this was aerobic capacity. So those, I'm assuming they're going to be your endurance type athletes. Although I feel like there's some lifters on some of these teams too. So I don't know, maybe they're extremely well rounded.
Holly says, I can't keep track of the teams. Otherwise, it's a selfish move.
We appreciate it, Holly.
Yes, we for sure do.
So we had that. Then we go into the swim event with, and I say swim event. I quickly learned it was not a swim event. It was a burpee event
over the worm
and a can you communicate on the worm.
Yep.
And I'll let you guys go first. Any initial thoughts on what you saw?
Well, I just thought it was interesting on the girls' event how everybody was expecting, Ice Barrel to take first, and they did not.
I saw that graphic come up and chasing them saying that like this is the fan favorite and this was the Heat 1 favorite, and I was like, who picked them? I would have never. I mean, that wasn't my pick.
Yeah, I went with Frog Grips, and I was not even close.
Yeah,
I know, same.
I was super excited to see though how well Kelsey and Kelly Baker and that team, how they did on that. That was great.
They did great.
And
they
that
did
is
on the run.
Yeah,
because the next event is going to be awesome for them. They can cycle barbells. They're good. They're good at, like, Kelly's great at handstand push-ups.
Yep.
It's going to be an amazing event for them. They could be sitting in a podium spot come tomorrow morning.
Agreed. Yeah, this is one of those events where it's like I wish we knew, kind of like yesterday's, like we don't know the distance of these swims, and it seems like they kind of check the water in the morning and decide. Like they extended the swim yesterday for the individuals, which made it a swim event. So if you picked the swimmer, you did good. I went with swimmers. You did too, obviously, but that was negligible. I mean, really, it was burpee cadence because there were people who were great swimmers who got back and they weren't even done with burpees. So you didn't really necessarily want to pick the swimmers.
Yeah, it was interesting to see the different strategies played out on that.
Yeah, and I'm sitting there thinking the whole time, like in my swimming prime, would I sprint it and be able to rest, or would I go 80% and just be able to move straight in? Like, how would I attack that?
Yeah.
And
I feel like for me, I would want to get back and have a rest, but I'm
Same.
weird like that.
I'm really motivated by rest, so I would definitely go hard so I could rest.
I'll tell you what, Saxon swimming has gotten so good.
Holy cow, that was amazing. And talk about, hey, if this was a big one about communication, you got Roman on your team. They figured it out.
They did. They did.
They did great.
Back to Kelly and Kelsey and Emil. They've all been to the games on teams. So they all know how to communicate.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, Kelly's
Not
never been on a team with either of them at the games.
Correct. But Emily and Kelsey have worked together, so they can work together. And so like their twosomes probably have like great communication.
Yeah. Well, and Kelsey and Kelly are best friends.
Right.
Beyond competition. So I'm sure they have a language that isn't even CrossFit related.
Yeah.
So that was super fun for me to see them. Then we go to the men, and it was a battle. It was a battle between Pixel, which is Saxon and Roman, and
I thought Hombres were going to pull off second, but they ended up with third. I forget what Justin Medeiros' team was, but their team name. They took second.
Go
Wad.
Wad.
Yeah, they took second.
I expected Go Wad. I expected Jay Crouch to catch, maybe, I mean, at least be very close to Saxon, and that just didn't happen. Saxon's improved that much at swimming.
Yeah, he held off Jay Crouch, and Jay Crouch is an elite athlete now. Like, he is a he's a contender for top 5 now. He has shown over the last year that he is. Yeah, I forgot Jorge Fernandez for Team Pixel. Yes. But Jay Crouch is going to be fun to watch in this next season. So we had that, and it was an epic battle. But in the first heat, there was Complex Wadex, which actually took second.
Crushed it. Holy cow. Who even was that?
Don't even know.
What's the team name again?
I saw them because the camera never moved off of them.
Yeah.
What's the team name?
Complex Wadex.
Okay. Christian Paccio, Mario. Okay, that's lots of names I can't pronounce. Samuel Zalami.
Okay. Well, good for them.
Yeah. And I think that's what's cool about Wodapalooza too, is athletes like this that may have a specialty get to show it off. They get to have their day in the sun.
Lack of.
Yeah.
I kind of wondered if the Go Wad's touch and go clean and jerk was going to pay off, but I mean, not quite enough.
Yeah. I wonder how much it fatigued them.
That's what I'm wondering.
Because you don't want a fatigued back going into a swim.
Nope.
But they still did well.
Yeah,
I think they took third. Hombres took fourth. I had one question here for you two. Does Noah look small on a team with Chandler and Tola?
A little bit.
And less jacked?
So it's so funny you say that. I'm sitting here watching it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, Chandler looks jacked, like jacked. And Scott was like, what do you mean jacked? And I was like, they all look jacked, but he just looks so huge.
Then Tola came out of the water, and I was like, good Lord.
Totally.
Like, he's chiseled out of granite.
Tola is a unit. That is accurate description.
But their team name is literally my favorite. I think it's the most creative. Hombre.
I do like that one.
Thick.
Thick boys. Yeah. Tola swam really well. I thought he would get caught, and he did not.
Nope.
I almost thought Roman was gonna like grab his legs like in the water. It's like they're pretty close.
I know.
So there was a comment made by Brian Friend while Tola was swimming, I believe it was, and he said that Travis was on the team with Chandler and Noah last year. They replaced him so that Noah would have some opportunities to work as a team with Tola. Is he changing the construct of his team after Chandler had a top 5 finish at the games last year?
Interesting. I hadn't heard that, but
it was
we speculated that.
Quick under the radar comment made during the event that I picked up on, and I was like, I wonder.
I missed that commentary. Very interesting.
Could be.
Yeah. So there's that. We don't have, I'm sure the leaderboard is not updated for the men. After that, they do have scores in there, but it is not. Do they have
scores in for the run yet?
Red. It's still red. Yeah, they do.
Oh.
So do you want the run? The run was Gowad, Tier,
okay.
Pixel, Saxon, Roman, and Jorge.
Okay. Yeah.
Strapping Young Lads, James Sprague, Jack Farlow, and Hombres was 5th.
Okay. Trace Leches wasn't up there?
It's 8th.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like, I don't know if the BKG substitution, I don't even know. Like, I don't know if Morad would have been better or worse, but they're not quite hitting it for me.
Ooh, look at this.
Carolyn coming in.
That's
Cerness and Lena. Oh.
Wow. Lena from Oslo Blue.
Yeah.
And Matilda.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think I have a new favorite team.
Yeah.
That will be an interesting team to watch.
Yeah. Tola's such a good team athlete.
Yeah. I'd love him as a team athlete.
Noah might be the shortest one on the team.
I
think might be.
I would bet I think
he might be.
It's between him and
Lena. It will be.
Yeah.
They'll have to partner for more things.
Ooh, yeah, I moved to 3rd place on our board.
Hey.
I know that Matilda and Tola will have to team up for synchro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually a good man. That's like well balanced. Look at our insider Carolyn Prevost with.
Thanks, Carolyn.
Bringing the heat. All right, so tonight we have it starts with the handstand mess. Starts with strict handstand push-ups, goes to regular handstand push-ups, 40 strict, 60 regular. One person rests, one person's in a hold, one person does the work.
Yes.
And then they move to synchro, that barbell mess.
Double unders. 2 people synchro the double unders, one person rests. Then it's all 3 on the barbell, which we don't know. Yeah, we're unsure how that's going to play out.
Yeah. Or how they're going to, because we said, are they going to put them in a line? Are they going to put them in a circle? Are they going to?
Right.
And it's a complex of deadlifts, front squats,
hang cleans. I think.
Hang cleans. Yeah, I think so.
Is it still on Bayfront on the barge?
No, I think it's at Flagler.
Good.
Okay.
I like that better.
So that's tonight. I only have 2 things left. Broadcast. We've been talking about it every day. I actually think it took a step back today.
Dang.
Right. And mostly, and I'm going first just to protect you too.
Okay.
I think the camera shots were terrible. They did not move around enough to let us know who was where. It
Agreed.
was in the women, we saw 2 lanes the entire time. It was awful. The men, they did a little bit better, but it was still, if you weren't in the top 3, we didn't see you. And
Yeah.
and the scoring at the top is so jacked up. You can't even keep track of anything with that.
Yeah, it was better for the women, but then the men started. I was like, oh, they're not even. It's totally messed up. Then they try to bring it up, but yeah, that's frustrating.
Do you have any input into the broadcast today?
I feel like even Sean kind of was not like frustrated, but like I think he pointed that out. He's like, well, if they would show you down here, he like even said that at one point. Like he kind of wanted to talk about another team, but like nobody's letting them move to give some other information. Yeah.
Yeah, I was hopeful because Hamilton Road is not doing this one. This is a new company out of Miami, and I thought that it might be different. And I thought for a bit yesterday it got better, and then today they went back to old. If you're not in the lead, we don't get to see you at all.
I just don't understand that.
And what's worse is the 2 teams that were winning on the women's were on the ends. So you don't even get to see another team because it's the end lane and there's nobody beside them. And they angled out. So behind them is just empty space. Instead of like going out, angling in. I don't know. It just seems simple to me, but maybe I don't know what I'm talking about.
It really does seem simple. I don't know. Yeah, I think you could have gone from lane 1 and went lane 15 and then occasionally had a middle camera and just
you'd be able to
I would like to split screen lane 1 and lane 15 in. You'll catch most of the race and occasionally drop out one of those angles with the center. Because you're missing that like center view. If you're always from that angle, like I feel like those middle teams are never going to get featured. They're always going to be in your far view. But like, it doesn't need to be all up in someone's butt on burpees. Like, let's just leave it out. Let's see like 4 teams racing and the pace they're going and whatnot. Let's see a race and then swap one camera angle. Okay, here's another 4 teams. I don't know.
Unless you're showing me Tola's abs, I don't need close-ups.
Yeah, I'm over the close-ups. We see it in the gym every day. It's what we do. Like, I don't know. Maybe that's better for the general public. Maybe that draws in some people watching. I have no idea. I feel like we're all in sports bras every day. This is nothing new. Like, let's just see the race on the floor. I don't need to see close-ups of bodies.
We've been drawing those people in for 10 years. Now we need to draw in the other people.
Yeah.
Simple as that. There we go. So my last point, this is going to be a riff. And if you guys want to jump in, you're more than welcome to. So yesterday it was reported, Hiller made a video about it. Savon talked about it on the show, that Talking Elite Fitness, who is the hired broadcast team for Tier Wodapalooza, title sponsor Tier Shoes, they, in their after party show, are sponsored by Reebok. So they go off site, they do an after party show, and they're sponsored by Reebok. Both Hiller and Savon made the comment that was in bad taste, that the company that's paying you to come be the broadcaster is surviving because Tier is paying the bill. And then you are going off site and doing a wrap-up show sponsored by their competitor.
I'm surprised there's not something in their contract.
I am surprised as well.
Agreed.
So now let me take it a step further. Last night when I was going through some stuff, Lauren Khalil, part of Talking Elite Fitness, is getting on-site interviews on the floor where the big tier logo is, getting access to the floor and do the interviews through her job as TEF. And she is promoting Reebok in her posts on Instagram. Then Brian Friend and Bella Martin are on the floor. Like Lauren was off the floor interviewing Danielle Brandon. Brian and Bella were on the floor doing a wrap-up show, and they were sponsored by Strike Movement, another shoe company.
Their
I
show
think that's
was
in bad
sponsored.
taste.
Sorry, their wrap-up show was sponsored by a different.
Correct. But you're on the floor of Wodapalooza.
But how? Okay, so how would that be different if we were on the floor talking about the CrossFit Games? Let's say Noble CrossFit Games, right? But we're sponsored by somebody else, but we're just an independent.
I wouldn't, me personally,
Company.
if I'm out there, I'm not mentioning that sponsor.
Okay, sure. We may not mention it, but it might be factual.
Right. And I'm not, right. They're mentioning it.
Okay.
Right.
They're promoting it. And the only reason they have access to that is because really through a third party, tier is paying them. And they have access to the floor that none of the rest of us have. To then go out and then promote other brands, I think is not above board. And I know Carolyn is typing a novel. I have not read it all yet.
Yeah, I mean, her point is it's not being brought up on Loud and Live's broadcast. They only mention tier. It's when Talking Elite Fitness or Be Friendly post, they are bringing up their sponsors. To me, it's like I get where Carolyn's coming from, and it seems fine and dandy, I guess. And I haven't looked closely enough. Is Lauren out there on the floor in Reebok shoes, and is Brian out there on the floor in Strike Movement shoes, or have they been asked to wear tier and support tier because that's what's mostly on the broadcast, and obviously they're out there on the floor. So I mean, I feel like if I'd be very curious on that. Are they supporting tier as best as they can, but when they post their own pages, they're putting she's in tier on the floor and broadcast. I mean, it's kind of what you're gonna have to do. I'm sure that's what tier asked them to do. And then their own posts on their own channels when it's not Loud and Live's production is.
So
I mean, you have
the media agreement we signed when we go to the CrossFit Games.
Yeah.
If we mention a sponsor that is not theirs in any post, we get our media credentials removed.
Yeah.
But to Carolyn's point here is we don't know what the media credential process was here or what their contracts say. We don't have that info.
I think it's in bad taste. In my opinion, it's something that I would never do especially if I'm being paid by the event. I think that's what, and even when I'm not paid by the event, like I never brought up C4 at the games, or I never brought up C4 at semifinals because I know CrossFit has deals with other drink companies.
Sure, but we have to look at this though as Talking Elite Fitness. I mean, they've been in the game as professionals longer than than we have, and they would have more savvy about what the expectations are and what would be in poor taste. And I don't think Tommy or Sean would do anything that would put them at risk for not being able to do their jobs.
Yeah, I mean, all products need some promotion in our space, and like I feel in a way, I almost feel like that'd be like tier not allowing the athletes to wear anything other than tier out on the floor.
I don't know. Maybe I just, in the media world, like I've signed like Rogue, I've signed media contracts. Games, I've signed contracts. I'm sure I did one for Wodapalooza last year. I could look it up and see what it says. But most of the media contracts we sign say you cannot use a competing or any pictures for a competing company. The fact that they're on the floor of the freaking event and promoting a different sponsor just seems very against everything that I have ever signed as a media person.
Yeah, I get what Carolyn's saying. It's clearly all tiers, whatever tier outlined, and they obviously don't mind.
Yeah, I was just curious your thoughts. It was a slow day.
This is a good point that Carolyn says, though. True, she is a tier athlete.
Yeah. Oh, I'm just telling you. You know the media contracts we sign. Yeah. They're not short. They're very specific about what we can't say, what we can't promote. And it just seems like the Wild West at Wodapalooza this year. And I've never seen that at any other major competition in CrossFit. So maybe Wodapalooza didn't put it in their contract this year. So everybody went nuts. I don't know, because I didn't go down this year, so I don't know what this year's contract looks like.
Rogue probably is extremely protective, and then the games is a whole different. And this is not a CrossFit licensed event, so it's not going to have any of that what you're used to. Wodapalooza probably doesn't care. They clearly are a giant moneymaker festival, and Tiers has obviously run the numbers and figured out that this is going to be worth it for them or not, or maybe things will change next year or not.
Yeah, I was less upset about it when they were doing the post show off site. Right?
Yeah, that makes more sense to me. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And you're sponsored by Reebok, I can get that. When you're standing on the floor and have access because of the job you have, and then you're promoting another brand, just seems very off what I have done before. But I will let it rest.
On the flip side, don't you think it would be a violation of your other contract that you are on the tier floor if, promoting their other shoe company?
That's what would have struck me. Like, I would feel like one of Brian's contracts with Strike Movement is to wear them.
Yeah.
But he's probably had to put a caveat on that. Like, if you are going to an event like this, if Strike Movement wants Brian there for more notoriety and Tier is asking him to wear stuff on the floor, they're going to have to cave on that on their end.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I got thoughts. I asked for them. I got them.
Yeah, you did.
But with that, I think they're just about ready to hit the floor again.
Heck
like 6:40 or something. So
go watch it.
We'll go ahead and call it a night, and everybody enjoy the rest of the broadcast. We'll be back on Monday to wrap up all of Wodapalooza. As it's going to be like 3 degrees here, and nobody wants to go out anyway, and it's a holiday. So probably look mid-afternoon for a wrap-up show on Monday. With that, we'll catch everybody next time on Clydesdale Media Wodapalooza wrap-up show. Bye, guys.
Bye.